Hello and welcome to Walk the Talk. I am Shekhar Gupta in village Urlana Khurd in the heartland of Haryana's Green Revolution country, say about 120 kilometers from Delhi. I am standing in the middle of paddies under harvest, and these are not ordinary paddies. This is one of the newest, the highest yielding varieties of basmati developed in India. And don't worry, not by using any genetic mixing, but by old-fashioned plant genetics, by two of India's finest plant geneticists, Professor A.K. Singh and Professor K.V. Prabhu.
Nice meeting you too.
Of IARI Pusa.
Yes.
It's a great success story of publicly funded research in India.
That's true.
In agriculture. But everybody is worrying about Monsanto and
that's true.
And MNCs and the rest.
Yeah. All the food crops are totally under public sector production.
Right.
So it is a great contribution from the public sector.
And between the two of you, you now account for this basmati variety, Pusa 1509, and your wheat variety HT 2967. And both are champions now. If there were gold medals in India, both varieties will.
That's true. We are very happy, Shekharji, that you have selected the topic. And for us, this is going to be the first show on agriculture of yours, as I have seen the list of the shows that have been done in the past. The tradition, India has a unique...
Dr. Swaminathan has been on it.
Okay, that's great.
He is in many ways the founder of your lab as well.
Sure. Yeah, we are in his heritage only.
In his heritage.
Basmati is a unique gift of nature to India. And the traditional varieties of basmati rice used to be very tall in height, of our height, and they were prone to lodging. They used to take about...
Lodging means
they will fall flat when the grain formation is there. They fall flat. And then they will have, the duration it used to take about 160 days seed to seed maturity, and the yield was hardly 2 tons per hectare. And therefore at IRI in late 60s... IRI is Indian Agriculture Research Institute. Under the leadership of Dr. Swaminathan in late 60s, we started a program to combine the quality of traditional basmati into high yielding background, in dwarf background. And after 20 years, the first semi-dwarf variety called Pusa Basmati 1 was released. And then in 2003, we came out with another blockbuster variety called Pusa Basmati 1121, which is currently grown on about 1 million hectare area.
In India?
In India, yeah. So in 2013 we came out with this variety called Pusa Basmati 1509.
1509.
1509.
Which is this?
That's right. And this matures in 120 days as against 170 days in traditional basmati.
It saves you 50 days.
50 days.
This means it also saves you 50 days of watering.
Watering, about 7 to 8 irrigation, 33% irrigation water saving is there. It produces yield which is almost 1.5 times more than 1121. Its yield is about 25 quintals per acre, which 1121 used to give about 18 quintals per acre. And the quality is super. It's better than 1121. Its length on cooking is about 22 to 25 millimeters. So it brings more volume.
Almost like semolina.
That's right.
Very semolina, yeah.
And it produces about 5 times volume of cooked rice. If you cook 1 cup of rice, you can make 5 times volume, and therefore you can serve many plates, and you can have less calorie, in fact.
Less calorie. More filling and less calorie.
Here I would like to interfere a little bit in saying it became Pusa Basmati 1121 not by an effort. It happened with the intervention of changing the phenomena of what is to be called as basmati and what is not to be called as basmati. The definition of basmati had to be changed. Otherwise, this revolution would not have happened. It took us about 2.5 years to get this moved through Commerce Ministry, Departments of Agriculture, Food and Agriculture, Department of Agriculture, Research and Education, and I see...
I mean, I know what you are saying, but I think we have to explain it for...
yeah, that's true.
For our average viewer, whose idea of agriculture usually is distress, whose idea of the farmer is actually...
Poor chap, he's dying.
Or suicide. Explain it to us numbers.
I would. See, the basmati was an export commodity.
Right.
So therefore it was an element dealt by the Ministry of Commerce under the EPIDA, the Agriculture Produce Export Development Organization. So this was being defined as basmati if it was, as Ashok said, about the traditional material it used to be. It has to have this kind of orientation of 160 days, and only those which are traditionally available as basmatis in India are to be called basmati. And if you use one of those parents, as the parent.
Because of what is called GI, is it?
Yeah, no, GI
is also
GI is a subsequent
right.
one. But before GI comes in,
parentage comes in. Because in India that matters.
Very archaic.
Without that there is no marriage.
Right.
Without matching horoscopes.
Yeah, it was a demand from some of the agencies which were importing basmati from India. So they wanted to keep the purity associated with
one of the parents of any variety has to be a basmati.
This traditional basmati.
Traditional
immediate
basmati.
parent.
Immediate parent.
Immediate parent. Although scientifically there is nothing like an immediate parent.
Yes.
Right, because in pedigree breeding which we do, the immediate parent is its progenitor plant,
right,
which is not the cross parent. It is a different thing. So we had to make them understand the genes remain intact, whether it is coming from immediate parent or grandparent or great-grandparent or great-great-great-grandparent. It doesn't change. The gene is intact. It doesn't get contaminated by anything. It's only going to remobilize itself in combination with other genes. The positions remain the same. It remains intact. It doesn't change. So we had to impress the Ministry of Commerce that allow us to define what is to be called basmati, because we had to reduce the height, make them come to maturity earlier, so that it can fit into the wheat-rice combination. And in the Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, past Jammu Kashmir, past Himachal Pradesh, where basmati is completely feasible as a region where it can produce well, about say something like 7 to 8 million hectares area available to it. We are growing it in less than 2 million hectares only because it is the traditional basmatis are not able to manage to adjust with the sunlight, the duration of light, and be able to produce enough yield.
In fact, I see your biggest brand ambassador, Mr. Pritam Singh.
Mr. Pritam Singh.
Hello, Mr. Pritam Singh. How are you? Hearty congratulations.
I believe this is a bilkul national record you've set.
It is only because of doctor and IARI. IARI has given me different varieties. And how much basmati do you get per acre? Basmati, if you talk about 1509, in 1509 my relative has got 32.5 quintals and we also got 28 quintals. DSR has also got 27 quintals. And before that, how much did you get? Before we have 15 to 16 quintals, but there was a problem. These varieties take a long time to grow. Production was also less and sometimes it drops. But since ISRI and doctor has given us the new variety 1509, I proudly mention that it is like a boon for the farmers. Actually, it is a boon for Indian agriculture. In other words, it can be said that it takes 27 to 28 days less than other crops. Now we see how it is a boon for agriculture. The most important thing is water. So as it saves 27 to 28 days, the watering of 4 to 5 times is also saved. And the meaning of saving 4 to 5 waterings, we can save water for wheat. Okay. And main thing is that this crop won't drop. That is the most important thing. The crop of wheat needs 5 waterings, right? Yes, 4 to 5 waterings. If we take the crop of basmati in 1 hectare, then we also have 1509 in other. Then we can save our water for the wheat. We can save. So the water used for wheat is free. It's free, right? It's for the longer period. The rugby irrigation water is free. Yes.
So you consider him an IARI fellow?
IARI fellow.
He's an IARI.
In 110 years of history of IARI, there are only 10 people and he's one of them.
Oh, he's formally a fellow at IARI?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yes, with certificate, full certificate.
So he should be a brand ambassador.
Yes.
I believe he grows the wheat also.
Yeah.
What is the variety of wheat? It is the crop of 2967 variety. We take the crop of 2967 in 90% of our area. What is the benefit of 2967? There are different varieties of wheat as well, you know. So what is the advantage of 2967? You see, we are facing the problem of rust, but this problem of rust is absent in case of 2967.
Fungal disease.
I remember white rust.
Yellow rust,
yes.
brown rust, black rust.
There is no rust, and it has also other advantages like it yields more. 29 quintals and 20 kgs I got in 1 month. I estimated the production per acre. But no one can believe this. And the other important thing is, I'll tell you,
You must be a rich man.
we have challenged him to be a crorepati. Are you a crorepati? How much land you have under cultivation? I have 107 acres of land under cultivation. I own 30 acres land of rest is on contract, right? Yes, you're right. How much is the lease rent? The lease rent is between 50 to 60,000 per annum. Lease rent has been increased in last few years. It was about 35,000 before 3 years, but since 1509 has been introduced and the farmers started getting better rates for basmati, the lease rent has gone up to 50,000 rupees.
So a farmer can earn 50-60,000 rupees per acre without doing anything, basically by renting it to him.
Yes, for both the crop.
But do you scientists feel under siege with this campaign against transgenic?
Yes, because we feel it is done by people who don't understand the science, who don't understand the purpose behind it, who don't understand our limitations which we are trying to overcome through science, which is safe. They should understand that it is going to be eaten by my family as much as their family. It is not a technology which I can avoid. So if I am thinking of it as safe, by doing everything that is approvable for the safety analysis, through biosafety testing, through environmental safety testing, to toxicological analysis, with everything that is available on the platform of testing for safety, when it is done and then identified as safe by the scientists, it should be accepted. The farmers are accepting it. It's only people who don't understand the science of it are the ones who are projecting
and where are their fears coming from?
They are coming from quarters which are in untreated areas, like it may create some unknown mutation, it may transmit into the progeny of the person who is eating the protein. It is meaningless. See, the same protein you are eating in maize,
right,
and the same protein, right, you are eating the same protein from maize, and how does it not go into the progeny which is going to make it different? The same protein is being produced by the rice also. It's nothing different.
You are not inventing a new gene.
No, you are not inventing a gene. It is already expressing gene, identified as safe, known to be non-allergenic, known to be non-toxic, known to be causing no say environmental hazard of any kind. It is only that gene which is being used.
This the chances of something happening bad, even in the classical plant breeding, for example, and there is a famous saying I would like to quote here. George Bernard Shaw, he was not very good looking, and Chitralekha was very beautiful. So he went to Bernard Shaw and said, if you marry, the child will have your brain and my beauty. And then Bernard Shaw said, think of the child who will have your brain and my beauty. So these possibilities are always there, but we have to make it sure that these things are eliminated. They don't find any way, whether it is classical plant breeding or it is transgenesis. In both cases, we take enough care to see that anything which could be harmful or potentially harmful is not deregulated.
Dr. Singh, do you also feel under siege? Or do you think something is going to change now?
I think our mindset will change. It's a matter of time. I think we have to change with time.
It is in the Supreme Court now.
Do you think we are anti-science? That as a society we are afraid of science in India?
I think in general it is so. When it is not coming on you, on your health, science is not to be desirable. If it is at somebody else's cost, it is accepted. If it is on you, when it comes to, say, your own health, anything new, laser surgery is fine because it is my body.
Right.
It is somebody who is mine. Although laser can do much more damage than a transgenic can even be imagined to do.
Right.
But we are accommodating those kinds of things.
Well, most antibiotics can do more harm.
Yeah, that's true, and we are taking it on every day. The insulin and the various drugs for the sugar
why
that we are
don't
taking.
scientists
speak out?
You're right. I accept that we are at say losing end and not being able to communicate with the people on what science can actually do.
Okay, illiterate people have taken over science debate in India.
My lament is even among the scientists we have a lobby who don't come in our field of science. They may be scientists like an engineer or some. He also has an opinion on agriculture.
Right.
Agriculture is everybody's beating boy somehow. Right. Because everybody thinks he or she knows agriculture.
In our science, if you look at our science, agriculture is our biggest success story.
Yes, it is.
Even more than space.
Yes, it is, really. You said it very rightly. Thank you so much for making this statement. Because it is not a rocket science, so not a space science, I mean. And therefore it is not accepted
it's not as sexy as rocket science, but just look at what we have transformed in India. Look at our growth rate.
See, he was a landless person. Today,
Crorepati. And he's not shy of saying it because he's not even going to get raided. His income is agricultural.
Sir, what the doctor and Pritam Saab are watching, you know, when any building is constructed, there is an architect. You are enjoying this view of the agriculture. There is no doubt that it is created by us. But one brick of the building which is unseen. The people can see the structure. The IARI and the main architects are standing here. These are the two people.
That's why we dragged you so far from Delhi, from your lab.
It is nice of you. I mean, found out so much of time and, come to this.
I mean, as a citizen, I'm grateful to you. And as a journalist, I love my job that I can find time with you. So, sir...
we were really surprised when you gave this call. Because we never thought, because you are dealing with celebrities all the time. And here you are a celebrity and
you are the celebrities. In fact, you should be the #1 celebrities in India. So you've got your 1509 and 2967. Yeah. What next now? What are the new frontiers after this?
Oh yes.
As I said, like in case of rice, we know that Pusa Basmati 1509 has certain weaknesses. We would like to make it genetically resistant to insect pest diseases so that cost of cultivation is reduced and the profitability of farmers goes up. This is one, and then also in future we will try to enhance the nutrition.
The export, you were talking about the export in the beginning.
Right.
The export always has the limitation of carrying residues of chemicals.
Right.
The less the spraying happens of pesticides,
the less the residue.
By his genes which he is talking about, less is the residue.
Because I heard that when we sent our first consignment of red wine to France, we were very happy, and they sent it back, saying that we had asked you for red wine, not for flit. It was more like an insecticide.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, in the wheat also similar thing. Wheat does not have the problems because we have the genes well worked out for the disease part. But there's a problem with the heat that's happening when the plants are coming to flowering stage, and now it is happening at all the stages. There is sudden increase in heat temperature, then a sudden dip in temperature, and then a complete dryness that happens with the increased temperature when the plant comes to flowering. All those things are happening in wheat. It's exposed to that. 30 million hectares of wheat is exposed to this now today in the country. So what now we are doing is using the molecular marker technology and most advanced breeding technology called recurrent selection.
And I believe in wheat now our yields are as good as any in the world.
We are better than the average in the world, and if you look at Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh, we are better than many countries in the world, and per day productivity of wheat in these three regions is the highest in the world.
Per day means total production divided by the number of
days of crop.
Because I believe Chinese total productivity is higher, but they take much longer
period. 90% of their crop is in those areas which take 280 to 290 days for maturity. Ours is 145 to 500, almost 50%.
Dr. Saab, we are talking about insecticide residue. If we have other varieties of long durations, they stand on our land for an extra month, and that means we have to give an extra spray for plant protection. So in case of 1509, that can be saved. If the poisonous insecticides are less used, then the residue also will be less. Residue will be less. And one more thing we have planned to do in this near future is, every third person is suffering from sugar in our population.
Rice for diabetic. This is one of the important area of research that we are trying to at low glycemic rice, where we can bring the glycemic index around say 50%. And for that,
so your body picks up the sugar more slowly.
And by the time it gets into the blood, it passes through the system, and then you don't have sudden peak of sugar in the blood. So for that we are identifying the resources which have got genetic resources which have got low glycemic index.
So diabetes is our national disease now.
Yeah. We have the maximum number in the world. Yeah.
Right.
There are some ways of processing rice by which you can reduce the glycemic index to some extent, like parboiling, steam boiling. Those are processing things.
Those are processing.
And
those are not cultivars.
Not cultivars basically, and genetically they are not low glycemic index.
Right.
Only by processing. But
maybe when you parboil them, you also lose other nutrients.
Yes, I mean particularly we lose a lot of nutrients when we do milling. If we take brown rice, it has iron and zinc into it at least. But when we mill it, then iron and zinc is lost, almost 80%. It is in the bran, it is removed. Parboiling is still, we have the parboiled rice, less degree of polishing is there. It is still better nutritionally as compared to raw rice and milled rice. That has.
So sir, you run the genetics lab. You are under attack from the most influential anti-science lobbies around the world. I know that if we keep on talking like this, not only you be accused of being in the pay of Monsanto, so will I be. Right.
But I have to correct that, because now it is not Monsanto alone that is doing it. We have our own native companies Indian bred, Indian owned, Indian proliferating companies, and genes which are identified in our own labs, working in our own system.
Indian
Council
labs
of Agriculture
like
Research. Yes,
you are a government
ICR has spent so much of money in getting the genes, and DBT has given, the Government of India has given a lot of money.
Department of Biotechnology.
Biotechnology.
You scientists are like soldiers. You love acronyms.
Acronyms, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So we have now enough number of trained scientists, trained students, trained people who are capable of picking up new genes and developing them, identifying them, putting them.
Long grade.
1509 ka hai, 1509.
Yeah. So it is there. So it is nothing like we are against a big lobby. We'll fight it, and that's what we have been doing.
So is there a word of advice that you have for this lobby that's opposing genetic research?
Yeah.
Because they don't even like this research.
Yeah. Word of advice.
They want to go back to old things.
Yeah, that's true. The word of advice I have is to them is they have to understand food security of India is something that is primary to India. Nobody else can develop the food required, provide the food required by India, growing India. If India goes to market to fetch food, the prices are going to skyrocket and we're not able to manage it. So therefore, we have to do everything possible using every technology safe for human beings like them and we, and be able to produce it, and therefore do not consider that you will be able to give us food security by banning a technology that is worthwhile and useful for human beings.
So do you have a message for them, and do you have a message to political leaders?
Yeah, I think the political will is also important, and we are trying to convince people to change the mindset, and there is nothing wrong with the transgenic technology because all precautions are taken to make it safe for the purpose of consumption. And there is a fear of unknown among the people, and the people who do not know, they get carried away. So my message and request to the people is that to have more interaction with the scientific community and know this subject better.
And trust the scientists.
In fact, have more interaction with...
Mr. Pritam Singh, do you want to convey some message to our political leader? Do you think that the science should progress? There should be more budgetary provisions for science and research. The nature will be alive till we have agriculture alive. If no agriculture, there will be no nature. There is a proverb in Hindi, you have to sing to the tune who gives you cake. Therefore, if everything is dependent on agriculture, then there should be more sufficient provisions for it.
You sing praises of whoever gives you your bread.
You have to sing to the tune who gives you cake. Who gives you cake? Of course, I want to say that if all are depending upon the agriculture, then there should be more budget for it.
I think what you need is, you need to produce more Pritam Singhs now.
Fortunately, there are many Pritam Singhs. We are fortunate to be in contact with him.
Right.
I am very sure there are many Pritam Singhs because production is improving and people are coming to us. And see, the glut is not there in the seed market.
Right.
The new advanced seeds are all taken by farmers. That means they are on Tarakki.
Well, wonderful. Congratulations to you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So heartening chatting with you.
Pritam Singh ji, I'll come to learn your technique of agriculture. Do come, sir. Do come.